And welcome to the Administration and Operations meeting of January 14th. This is our first meeting of Committee/Council of 2025. So hopefully everybody had a good holiday and Happy New Year to all. As far as attendance today, we've got Councillor Oakley, Councillor Garneau, and Councillor Miller online. The rest of committee is on site. Anybody have anything to add to the agenda today? Seeing none, can I get a mover to Councillor Coleman, Mayor Bailey? Any questions? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest, any now? Councillor Kyle?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. Through you, just to be consistent, I'm going to step away for 7.1.2.
7.1.2, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to delegations. We do not have any delegations today, so we'll move on again. Adoption of the previous minutes. Can I get a mover? Councillor McAlpine, Councillor Bell. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Any business arising from those minutes? Councillor Bell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With respect to item 10.3, pull it up. It was the Brant Heritage Committee report. Staff be directed to circulate a Friday file regarding the updated restoration plan. Did I miss it?
Who can speak to that? Alicia?
Through your worship, to Councillor Bell, yes, that Friday file came out the Friday after that from Brandon Courtlove, but I can have him send it to you direct.
Too near Christmas, thank you.
Okay. Any other business? Okay, seeing none, we will move on to consent items. Consent items to be approved, we've got a few of them. RPT-0016-25. Can I get a mover? Councillor Howes. Seconder. Councillor Kyle. Questions on that report? Councillor Howes.
Thanks, through you, Mr. Chair. And this, just a quick comment and a question. Love the design of the proposed non-settlement historic. So I just love the graphics on it. And I anticipate that like reading through that, I had my own eyes opened to how many settlements we have and how many non-settlements we have. And I saw some names I hadn't seen in a long time or ever. And I can anticipate somebody asking this question, so I pose it to perhaps the planning staff. And I don't need an answer necessarily right now, but I'd be interested in knowing what defines what's a settlement and what defines what is not a settlement or a non-settlement.
Thank you. Through your worship to Councillor House. So what the reference is with regards to the settlement communities is found within the official plan. So they're actually settlement boundaries. So the county currently has approximately 20 of them, and those were the settlement boundaries which existed within the original municipalities pre-amalgamation. They were simply combined and they were all capped. In terms of anticipating your next question, what are non-settlement communities? So those would have been communities which the planning department, looking through the archives of the old municipalities, were at one point considered within a settlement boundary and no longer were at the time of amalgamation, or were identified as settlement communities within old mapping of the old municipalities.
Thank you. Just a quick follow-up. So it is truly a nod to history, an acknowledgement of the history.
Through your worship, correct. It would be the history of planning throughout the municipality pre-amalgamation.
Great. I appreciate the answer. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay, seeing none, all those in favor of that report? Opposed? That is carried unanimous. Moving on to 7.1.2, so Councillor Kyle is going to step away. RPT-0008-25, the award of the Mitchell Municipal Drain. Can I get a mover? Counselor Coleman, Counselor Howes. Questions? Greg's right there ready to answer too. Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Counselor Kyle, will rejoin us. 7.1.3 RPT-0004-25 omnibus report for road maintenance service. Can I get a mover? Councillor McAlpine, Councillor Oakley. Questions? Councillor Kyle.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Through you, one real quick one. I was just looking at the tender prices that came in, and I'm just curious. So for the calcium chloride, obviously our current provider came in significantly lower than the other two that bid. So I'm just wondering, is that probably more of a good customer relationship, or I'm just wondering how it could be that much lower than the other two?
Through the chair, great question. So I think it's a bit of both. We have a long-standing history with them. They understand our road network. They know what they need to get the job done. We work with them in their scheduling. Also, daily, they specialize in. This is what they do. So when we look at larger groups like Miller Paving, they're in a lot more other parts of the construction business. So that's not their primary focus that they're dedicated to. So I believe dealing with Daily, they've got it figured out, and that's why their pricing is so good. If we have not done so much business with Daily in the past, I might have been concerned, but we have absolutely no concerns. And every year after they've done their dust suppression application, I meet with the road superintendents and we discuss if there was any issues, and there hasn't been for several years.
Okay. Thank you for asking that, because I had that as like 40% less. I wondered that myself. So, any other questions on that? Councillor Miller.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just about the lights. The company that was awarded for the lights, is that every single street light in the county that they look after?
12,000.
Or does staff look after some, or are there some that are part of I'm thinking of Highland Estates. I don't know if those ones are part of it too. I thought they were different, but are those all the lights in the county that they look after?
Through the chair, yes, and eventually that will be Highland Estates as well. Right now, because of the current contract with BME, they're helping us look after it. But it is funny, the company that installed them is the same company that got this tender. So it is PowerServe or Power Inc., Neighborhood Electric formerly, that will be looking after it all anyways. And then because it is a trade that looks after these electricians, we do not have electricians on staff within roads. So this is 100% contracted out.
Okay. So getting back, we also have other lights, say in the cemeteries and whatnot. Like I'm thinking the Paris one, some of the parks. Are they responsible for those as well, in addition to the street lights?
Through the chair, that was not made as part of this contract, but what we do have provisional items there that they could take this over, and that would probably, I'm not sure what the community services has set up, so that would probably be a better question fielded by them.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Bell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just on the same subject, Greg, the pricing is unit pricing. Does that mean a unit is one light?
No, through the chair, sorry. Through the chair. This was a hard tender to pull together for the fact that we have no projected projects for it. So what we did was, for the unit pricing, we asked for all your labor costs per hour for your journeyman, for your labor, your laborers, and then your equipment. And what we did was we ran a list down, and then we added it all up. to find out who our cheapest supplier of the service would be, and that they had to be a qualified supplier. So we've got, so we've done our due diligence to go out and find the most economical pricing for the most qualified suppliers of these services. Does that make sense?
So to be clear then, Job Inc. at $5,800, that's the same scope of supply as Power Inc. for $2,100.
That is correct. Yeah. So they all bid on. We gave them a list of the equipment that we needed for them to have. They gave us their hourly rate. We gave them a list of their trades, certified trades people on. We had got their hourly rate. So then we added them all up, and when that came to those titles there, those totals, or not titles, totals on this page. So that was the best and fairest way that we could do it, not knowing, and these are multi-year agreements, what I've been trying to do, which gets us much better pricing. So these agreements, as long as they're in good standing, could last up to 7 years. So that's the best way that we were able to approach it, not knowing what light's going to burn out next year.
Any other questions on that one? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 7.1.4, which is RPT 0006-25, the award of the OPS RFT-24-30, the Reed Bridge rehabilitation. Can I get a mover? Mayor Bailey, Councillor Howes. Questions? Councillor Bell?
Question for Greg. Urban Link Civil, is that a company that's done a lot of work for us? Sorry, Greg. Urban Link Civil, is that a company that's done a lot of work for us, and are we confident in their abilities?
Through the chair, that would be a question for Mark Eby. That's his group.
Okay. Mark Eby. It's
Through the chair, yes, Urban Link did the successful completion of the McMillan Bridge last year, and I think they've done one other project, but I do know that they've had successful projects in other municipalities, and we had really good success with that project last year, so we have no issue with them as a
Thank you.
contractor.
I've just been watching the Senate appraisal of the nomination for Secretary of Defence. Most of the questions are yes or no, so you could have saved yourself a lot of words there, but yes is good. Second question, is this the scope of work much different from what it would be if it was Cleaver Road Bridge?
Maybe.
Because
Through the chair, yes, it is.
good, that's good. Because it's a question I think we will see coming back regularly. You know, we spend $874,000 here on this bridge. Why not Cleaver Road Bridge? So we need to keep on being able
Yes.
to answer that question.
So through the chair, this is a rehabilitation. It's not a replacement at this point. So it's just like that much to keep us going. And you can see the price differential because Urban Link didn't, like the McMillan Bridge was in the same area, or they had a good project last year. They're interested in starting as soon as possible in this one as well. So they're really looking forward. They gave us a really good price to keep working and keep within the county. So.
Perfect. Nobody else? Oh, Councillor Miller?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Through to Mark Eby. Mark, I don't know if you can answer this question or not. We're spending $35,000 a year, give or take, on this bridge for the next 25 years. That's what it works out to. Any predictions at the end of 25 years that will it need a full replacement there, or it could do with another rehabilitation in the future?
Through the chair, that is very hard to predict. Typically, when we get to a rehabilitation of this nature, it's getting closer to the end of life. And you get to that point where if it's by age, once you get close to 75 years, it's very difficult to determine can you extend it or not. And it would be closer to that point and the engineering group that looks at it and reviews it, sees everything to that determination, I could not predict it now at this point.
Okay. I mean, 25 years is a good long time, but yeah, and I figured it'd be a tough question to answer. But at some point, you got to say, yeah, we're probably better off with the new bridge. But obviously, 25 years, not in that case. So, okay, thank you.
Seeing no other questions, all those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. 7.1.5, RPT-0005-25, Birch Road traffic modifications. Can I get a mover? Councillor Coleman. Councillor Kyle. Questions? Councillor Coleman.
Not a question, Mr. Chair, but a comment. Glad to see this is happening.
Thank you for that. Any other questions? Comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, consent items to be received. I see none. There is one, like I said. 7.2, the December 2024 Fire Prevention Activity Report. Can I get a mover to receive that as information? Councillor Howes, Councillor Kyle. Questions? All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Staff reports, 8.1, RPT 0007-25, disposition of surplus lands, 6 Paris Links Road. I need a mover? Mayor Bailey, seconder, Councillor McAlpine. Questions on this report? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, so we're on to 9 committee reports. 9.1, Biggers Lane Landfill Liaison Committee Report. Can I get a mover? Councillor Coleman. Councillor Howes. Question. Councillor Bell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. The question relates to the issue of diversion. I was quite surprised at the apparently low diversion rate we have, which looks like about 10%, if I read the numbers correctly. Is there value in pursuing additional diversion efforts so that we can extend the period for which the new Biggers Lane landfill can exist without having to be replaced?
Through you, Councillor Bell. Through you, Chair, to Councillor Bell. This is one of the items that we're looking at through the solid waste master planning process, especially with the transitions with the blue box regulation changes. We really need to look at all the solid waste programming for the County of Brant and figure out the best way to approach it.
Am I right in thinking the answer is about 15% diversion rate? Sorry, I said 10, it's 15 from my calculation here.
Through you, Chair, to Councillor Bell, I can't speak to that precise number. I can look into it and get back to you.
And then following question, what do our neighbours achieve? What is their diversion rate?
Through you, Chair, to Councillor Bell, it really does depend on the programming in the different municipalities, and as well as the repercussions of people not diverting their waste correctly. The County of Brant to date has had very much a softer approach, and as we work through the solid waste master planning process, we need to look at ways to encourage the residents to put their waste in the correct places, and determine the strategy to move that forward.
Thank you.
Any other questions on that report? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Okay, communications, I see none. Anybody for other business? Councillor Chambers?
Sorry, Mr. Chairman, I didn't mention this before because I didn't know how long the meeting was going to go, but I just wonder who can answer questions regarding the installation of fiber optic cable. There's a lot of questions about 2 things mostly. One is all the orange coils around, and they're blaming the people I talked to. Some of the people are blaming the county for the mess that's created. And the other thing is properties that have don't have the cable going past their properties and are wondering why the county isn't doing something about it, which again is not a county project. So I'm wondering, who do we refer these people to that are basically complaining about what the county is doing when in fact the county hasn't got anything to do with it with regard to fiber optic cable?
I think Greg's going to give us an answer here.
Through the chair, I would ask that those folks are forwarded to myself or the Public Works Department. We've fielded a lot of questions. We're working directly with the contractor, so we've received some complaints. I've gone out myself, and things are getting fixed. We're trying to get 650 like you said, it's not our program, but we are assisting the company with the permits and stuff to get this work done. We're trying to get 650 kilometers of this in the roads so everyone has internet access. And the company to date, there has been some issues with the rehabilitation work, but they have returned and fixed it. So, and then they're trying to get as much done as they can. So where their leads or their are rolled up and sitting on the side of the road, they're aware of that, but that's for connections when they come back in the spring. Time is of an absolute must here. They're mandated by the government to have it in the ground at a certain point, so they're trying to get as much done when the sun's shining. So,
and with regard to the property owners that feel that they are not being served, they don't see cable in front of their place, who do they get referred to?
Again, through the chair, again, I would like to take that phone call, because then we can see because I believe it's like over the next 3 years that we're going to try to get this in the ground. And people hooked up, so they might just not be, it might be the next phase. It might not be the current phase. And if they have been missed, then we can put them in, we can get them the proper contact to figure out why they're not part of the program.
So when people call me or email me with regard to why haven't I got service, I refer them to Greg Demers, who will explain to them that it's really not a county project and the councilors don't have any say over this, but you're working with the contractor to try to alleviate their concerns.
Yes, through the chair, maybe instead of putting them directly to me, to Public Works, just in case, but just so the roads office, and we will get them the answer.
So could you give me the exact phone number and the exact person to refer these people to? Because what I don't want to be looked at as giving them the runaround by sending them to somebody that doesn't know what's going on, kind of thing. So if you could perhaps in a Friday file or something, give information to councils on who to forward these complaints to, so that they are being looked after, so that we're not being continually reamed out about not doing what we're supposed to be doing, even though it's not our ball game.
Through the chair, I will prepare a Friday file for that.
Councilor Miller?
I'll just supplement Greg's response. It's great. I through you to Greg, I've been referring anybody that's not happy with the way things are left. Braden Robinson has been working with Ledcor. I guess he speaks with them on a weekly basis. Ledcor also has a phone number that Braden has. I also got it. It's a 1-800 number that they can call if they're not happy. You get a voicemail, you push to, and you go through that. So that should be in the Friday file. I mean, as far as the people not getting the service, those contracts, as Councillor Chambers knows, are all through the province. Those contracts are supposed to be all done by the end of this year. And we've been told to refer these people, these residents, to what they call the TAT, Technical Assistance Team. They have an email. I think you've been CC'd on them. So we have residents in wards 1, wards 4, wards 5. I don't know about 2 or 3. So there's probably at least 20 residents that I'm aware of who are not part of any of these high-speed projects. And that's because the provincial mapping says that they already have 50-10 service. that's debatable. They most likely they don't, but the problem is the people in Toronto go by they go by the mapping. Nobody's out there with boots on the ground, so it's really frustrating. So I've referred these people to the technical assistance team. I don't want to speak ill, but the reality is we've not got one single satisfactory answer from that team yet, even though some have been sitting there for 6 months. So I think there's going to be a solution. I don't think it's going to involve fiber in the ground when all's said and done, but that's just my thought. So we'll keep referring them to that. And if working through roads, if there's anything we can do to help these guys speed it up, but yeah, that'd be great if we could coordinate through Greg's team.
Councillor Chambers?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, now we've already got a conflicting direction. Councillor Miller is saying to talk to these people. Greg Demers is saying to talk to these people. I don't want to be telling people to talk to these people. That they need a consistent answer, and that's what I'm trying to establish so that they're not sent in 6 different directions by 6 different people. There should be a consolidated information where they can go to and be satisfied with the answers they get. So if I refer them to Greg Demers, or if I refer them to the road department, or if I refer them to the technical lead corps, that's inconsistent and not productive because it confuses people. So what I would like to do is have a standard communication that we can tell these people, all counselors on the same page, telling them the same thing so that they understand what's going on. That's what I'm hoping for.
That's fair ask. I think you'll work on something for a Friday file, right?
So through the chair, in the Friday file, it'll be Braden Robinson. That's who I've been putting stuff to, but it's going to be in the Friday file. Okay.
Councillor Miller, you want to say something?
Yeah, I'll share what I know with Greg, and then I think we can put it all together, coordinated. I don't know if we're going to get. I'm sure we can get one place where people go. I won't say that they're going to be satisfied, but we can get them one specific place to go.
Okay, Councillor Chambers, you're good with that? Okay. Anybody else for any other business? Got 1 more minute to make a half an hour. Nobody wants to say anything? Okay, so that's it for other business. We've got nothing in camera. And next meeting is February the 18th.